So Brooke, thank you so much for joining me here today at Milwaukee Film's Cultures and Communities Fest. So please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Nice to be here, Adam, and it's really great to be here in Milwaukee. My name is Brooke Swaney. I'm a filmmaker. I live in Montana. I live actually on the Flathead Reservation, home to the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes. My mom is Bitterroot Salish, and my dad is Blackfeet.
So your film, Daughter of a Lost Bird, is screening here today at the Cultures and Community Fest.
The Indian Adoption Project began in 1958 as a government effort to remove Native children from their families and place them in white homes.
So Daughter of a Lost Bird is a documentary that follows Kendra Malnichuk-Potter, an adoptee. Kendra and I met because I was making a short narrative project about a character that was removed from her identity and trying to figure out, what her identity looks like if she were to have a baby in kind of this baby crazy mania. That was her character. And I didn't know that was similar to Kendra's own background, that, she was moving into this phase of her life where she was questioning, where her indigenous roots came from, and then also wanting to become a mother herself. She reconnects with her birth mother, April, who was also an adoptee, and the film follows the two as they reconnect and reconcile their identity as Indigenous women in this country. I was working just to help her as a friend figure out where she came from, and then we decided to make a film together. So it's really been a collaboration between the two of us to make this film together.
What is the goal of the film?
I think the main goal of the film is to have people connect emotionally to this journey, this very personal journey that both Kendra and her birth mother, April, go through, to understand the ramifications of, kind of the social fabric of assimilation and how it affects individual Native people differently.
For decades, Indian parents and their children have been at the mercy of abusive action of local, state, federal, and private agency officials.
Between 25 and 35% of all American Indian children are removed from their families.
We're still overrepresented in the foster care system pretty much nationally, which is a huge issue, and we all need to be working, to preserve community.
I feel it's incredibly important and incredibly undertold the atrocities Native Americans have faced in the 20th century, cultural genocide and forced assimilation. How important is it to you to tell those stories?
Right now, it's really important to have stories like Daughter of a Lost Bird in, the American public. In fact, most Americans have been disserviced by the public education that they've received across the country. Most Americans don't know anything about Native people, and that people think we're not even around anymore. This was an American taxpayer-funded film, and I'm really grateful for that support to tell the story, because it is a part of America's stories. It's a dire need to hear these stories, and fortunately, we're coming into an era where Native people are being more and more prevalent in mainstream media.
What do you think are the main themes? What do you hope people take away from it?
For me, the themes of the film dig into, identity, into healing, and into connection.
As I'm slowly finding my own way through identity, realizing that I am actually a perfect example of assimilation, a perfect example of kill the Indian, save the man, and I'm a saved man and a dead Indian.
Something that my elders have told me repeatedly, and that I've, heard from other elders in other communities, is that it's really important to know who you are, and who you are is so tied to your foundation as a person. And if who you are has been ripped away from you in some way, that can be really damaging.
I identified as white, this strange confusion of white guilt, Native anger.
Knowing who you are, when you have that foundation and it's really solid, good things will come from it.